Hey guys, welcome to another GeekJ video, where we make tech tutorials and gaming simpler and better. So today we'll be addressing a fellow tech wizard's apparently comment on my latest video. So Ronnie Weasley, wink wink, nudge nudge, says, tried on Cyberpunk to see if I could replace their ugly FSR 3 implementation. Totally agree, by the way. But the files have different names. I tried replacing the AMD AGS64.dll. Yeah, that does a completely different thing, so yeah. But then the game won't launch. Yes, it will break your game. Would be great if you'd show us how to do that on Cyberpunk. So yeah, already I replied, I tried and found a workaround, and it does work, but it's a bit more complicated, and we'll show the solution right here in this video. So yeah, let's get to it. So first of all, before we apply any changes to the game, we will go onto our desktop and launch the game in its vanilla state, so we can have a point of comparison with the developer's implementation of FSR and the changes we will make to the actual FSR files, and probably fixing some of the issues by installing some extra mods to the game, which are practically required, especially if you want to fix the ghosting introduced in the game if you enable even the official version of their FSR frame generation. So yeah, let's move into our desktop, and I'm going to right click on my Steam, and we're gonna click on Cyberpunk 2077. Let me disable this just to make sure there are no leftovers from the trial runs I did before, so it will start without any mods. And I made sure there's no residual files in there by deleting the installation folder completely after uninstalling it from Steam and then re-downloading the whole game. So there are no residuals in there, but just to make sure, I just disabled the toggle. So hit play. So as you can see, we're running the latest 2.2 version, and I do have a save going on. Let's see if it's gonna load, but let me do an apples to apples comparison with FSR 3 in quality mode and the AMD frame generation on. We have over 100 FPS. I don't feel any significant latency while doing this, so that's pretty good. Go get this. As you can see, we do get the ghosting bug behind the car because of the FSR implementation. So yeah, we're gonna try and fix those issues in the game by updating the FSR. The way to do this is a bit more complicated than what we've done so far, but even though it's a bit more elaborate, I think most people will be able to do this. So let's do it. So if you go online, you will find several mods, especially on Nexus mods, that actually replace the FSR files and all that jazz, but we're gonna do it in a more official way, in quotes. So we're gonna download DLSS-Enabler, as a lot of those mods just use that specific tool, and after we download that, we can easily upgrade the FSR files in that, let's say, tool to the latest versions, and using this tool just gives you more flexibility, and it's easier to update or uninstall completely. So let's just go into their web page and download this tool. As always, I will have links for everything in the description below. you know, you're used to it by now. Like, you know it's there. As you can see here, it says DLSS-Enabler. And as always, we will go over here that says releases, and we will not click on the latest. We will click on the +40 releases hyperlink. And this is the latest stable version, and it's the 3.02.0000. We do not want this version. As you can see, it's from October 2024, so it's pretty old. Let's scroll a bit downwards. You will see another version which is even older, the 3.01. But look at this, we have a 3.03.000. And it might say October 3, 2024, but if we go into the assets, you will see over here that this specific exe file is 2 weeks old. So this is the one we need. You can see all the changelog and what are the differences between the previous version of itself, the 3.0.3, and the previous stable version. So anyway, this basically will have the latest versions of OptiScaler and some other tools. So anyway, let's go ahead and download this file. I'm gonna exit out of this. And basically now we will have this little file over here. And it says DLSS-Enabler setup dash 3.03 blah blah blah. So we're gonna run this. And we're going to accept the agreement and hit next again. And here we need to navigate to the bin /x64 folder of a specific game. It's not always going to be the same location, but basically what we need to do is just as we did in the previous video where we needed to find the AMD FSR files and they were in the actual .exe location of the game and not the launcher or some other generic exe file of the game. So in order to do this, we will open up our Steam. As always, right click, manage, browse local files. I'm gonna exit out of my Steam now. Bring that folder over here. And we are in the generic location of Cyberpunk 2077. And as you can see here, it's like completely vanilla. There's nothing added to this. We need to go into bin x64. This is the actual .exe file of the game. And this is the path we need to install the DLSS-Enabler. So I'm just gonna click over here and do a right click and copy. And then I'm gonna minimize this because we're gonna use that location again. And I'm gonna paste this here in the installer. So it's going to install it in this drive, Steam Library, Steam Apps Common, Cyberpunk 2077, bin x64. Hit next. So this is where sometimes things can get a little bit weird. So basically, we are going to install some other mods, and even though this guarantees optimal compatibility, some of the mods we're going to use do contain a version.dll file. So we need to use a different version of this. So we're going to go with the dxgi.dll version. After this, it depends if you have an NVIDIA or AMD GPU. I have an AMD GPU, so I'm going to click this, enable support for AMD and Intel GPUs. And it says specifically do not install if you have an NVIDIA GPU. We are going to use the in-game FSR frame generation, so we're going to go for install OptiScaler 0.6, not 0.7. If you are on an AMD GPU or Intel GPU, you need to click this as well for the .reg files, the registry files we are going to need to run on our system. If you are on an NVIDIA GPU, you don't need to install these, but basically NVIDIA GPU users do not tick this and do not tick this. Then click next. And it's basically a confirmation of where you want to install it and what options we selected. I'm going to click on the install button. And basically this is done. So we click finish. And what we need to do now is go again into the game folder. And as you can see here, we have several new files created, but also very important, it created an uninstaller. So if we want to uninstall DLSS-Enabler, we just run this uninstaller and it will delete all of its own files. And everything will be back in the vanilla state. As you can see though, we do have these two files over here that probably look very familiar because they are the Fidelity FX DX12 and Vulkan DLLs. And if we right click and go into properties, you will see here in the details, these are pretty old versions, not very old, but they are not, you know, the latest versions. So we're gonna replace those files with the ones from our GPU open zip file. We go into the bin folder and we can find these two files in here. We're gonna just drag and drop them in here and replace the files in destination. And if we right click and go into properties and details, you will see we have the latest version. If you want more details on where to find those files and where to download them, you can check my previous video there. Just check that. It's over there. Just check it. You'll like it. It's a nice video. And also, before we run the game, we need to run those registry files. So as an NVIDIA user, you don't need to do this step as I mentioned before, but as an AMD or Intel GPU user, you need to run the disable NVIDIA signature checks.reg. So I'm going to double click on this. On the UAC prompt, just click yes, and yes again on this file over here. It's going to tell you what it changed and that something was successfully added to the registry. And basically, we just need to run the game now. So let's do exactly that. We're not going to enable any mods, just hit play. So first things first, we're gonna go into graphics and you'll be able to see we can select DLSS right now. And let's go with DLAA, which is basically the same as native AA for FSR 3. We're gonna hit apply. Close, then we're gonna go with load. Let's load at exactly the same spot. If we hit insert on our keyboard, we get this menu. And this will tell us which algorithm it's using right now. So basically what this tool does, it is hijacking the NVIDIA DLSS DLL files and it replaces them with its own DLL files. And through this tool, we can select which app scaler we want to use. And we have access to FSR2, FSR3, and Intel XeSS. So just click on this little button over here. We're going to go into the 3X, click apply, and you can see here it says FSR 313. That's the app scaler it's using right now. So let me save the INI and close. And you can see here we gain about 2 FPS. And this is using the latest version of FSR. And the other thing we can do is through the game, we're going to go again into the settings and we are going to enable frame generation. And it says DLSS frame generation. It's not the DLSS version, it's the FSR 3 version. And we need to restart the game for it to take effect. As you can see, it's not working right now. So let's restart the game and we'll be right back. Okay, we're loading the game at exactly the same spot. And supposedly we have frame generation enabled. And as you can see, we do have more FPS and it's a lot smoother experience, but we still get the ghosting issue. And let's go drive a car again. just to demonstrate we still have that same exact bug going on. Oops. Right. We're in the car. Let's go into a well-lit area. So let's go into a well-lit area, just like that place over there, and you'll see this is very prominent. The issue still exists. So yeah, how do we fix that? We basically need to install some mods. So in order to fix the ghosting, we basically need to install a mod. And as always, I will have links for all of these mods and tools in the description below. So this is the link, and the name of the mod is called FrameGen Ghosting Fix for FSR 3 and 3.1 FG mods. And if you go over here into the about this mod, it says eliminates the most irritating frame generation ghosting for cars and motorcycles, now with options to limit ghosting in a first-person view for vehicles and on foot, doesn't require motion blur. And if we go into the requirements, we need to pay attention to this because we have some required stuff we need to have already installed before we can make use of this mod. So we need Archive XL. We will also need the Cyber Engine Twix, and we will need the red script. I will probably do the crouch vignette effect remover and the disable vignette and or sharpening, but I am probably not going to do the trash be gone optional blowing debris blah blah remover. Anyway, we need to download the Archive XL, Cyber Engine Twix, red script crouch, vignette effect remover, and disable vignette and or sharpening effect remover as well. So we need to download each of these modes. So first of all, let's go into this mod over here, and we are going to be downloading it manually, and we will do manual download on the FrameGen Ghosting Fix contextual frame generation version of it. For the next one, you just need to download the Archive XL latest file where it says manual download. Some of these mods will also require you to have other mods. So once you click manual download Archive XL, we will also need red for ext. So click on that as well, and we need to download this file as well. Manual download as always. Cyber Engine Twix, we're gonna go over here and download manually again. Red script, files, manual download, crouch vignette, files, manual download, and disable vignette and or sharpening files. And we are going to get the third version, which is disable vignette and sharpening in one file. So download this one manually as well. So once you've downloaded all of these, I put everything in this little folder called Cyberpunk 2077 mods. I'm gonna put these side by side, so it's gonna be a bit easier. And we need to be at the base folder of Cyberpunk 2077 for these to work. So the first thing we need is the Archive XL as the mod page suggested. So we're gonna grab both of these files and we're gonna drop them into our installation location. And as you can see, nothing is overridden. So if you're doing this for the first time and you don't have any other mods installed, this is going to overwrite 0 files, 0. So if it's overwriting stuff, you're probably going to be breaking your mods. So this is for a vanilla version of the game only. And when I say vanilla, I also mean no reshade as well. So pay attention to that. So I'm going to exit out of this one. For the next part, we need the CET tweaks. We're going to drag and drop this file as well. The next one, we're going to go for the red script. Grab these files as well. red for ext file. Well, and then we're gonna go with crouch vignette effect remover, just drag and drop, vignette and sharpening, drag and drop. And finally, I'm gonna do the FrameGen ghosting fix. Grab all of these files and drag and drop them. So exit out of this one, and we're going to minimize this one as well. So now that we have all those files copied over into our game folder, we're gonna run the game once again and see how things are gonna work in game right now. We need to do, I think, one setting, if I remember correctly. So let's do it together right now. I'm gonna right click on this and run the game. Now we need to click on this cog and enable mods. Click play. And the first thing we will see is the CED first time setup. Please bind some key combinations for toggling overlay. Combo can be composed from up to 4 keys. So what I'm gonna do is something that I think I'm not going to be using in this game. I'm gonna bound it to probably shift and the equal sign or something like that. Let me try this. We're gonna load our game from the exact same save file. Alrighty, so we're in the game. Let me get our overlay up. We are at 60 FPS, right? Let me go outside and see if the whole car ghosting thing is fixed. And as you can see, yep, the ghosting thing is nowhere to be seen. So we fixed the problem of the ghosting. We are using the latest FSR version, and basically everything is looking pretty good. And hopefully Mr. Ronnie Weasley will be happy. Okay, let's pause. And before we cause any other distraction, I hope that this was helpful for Mr. Ronnie Weasley, our fellow geek and tech wizard, and everyone else that's interested in having the latest version of FSR running on Cyberpunk 2077. And if you also have the ghosting bug, you can fix it by following this specific guide we just made and installing those 5 or 6 mods, I don't even remember, which is basically just drag and dropping some files into your game folder and doing just one setting in the game. If you like this video and this was helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel, because you will get help directly, right? And also, if you want to get notifications about my next video, just remember to, click on that bell and enable all notifications. Also, don't forget to follow me on my other socials, just right there. You can see them over here, I think, and there's fire and smoke. Catch me live on Twitch, Rumble, and Kick while I play some games and engage in conversation with you guys sometimes, if you're not weird. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Bye.